Okay, we're back here with the do while loop. The do while loop is going to be our post test loop, and it's basically the inverse of the while loop. The body of the loop comes first, and it's actually executed one time, no matter what. No matter if the expression is true or false or whatever have you, it's always executed one time. And then the expression is evaluated, and if it's true, then it goes back to do it again. If it's false, then it's going to just go ahead and exit. Might be thinking, what the heck is this useful for? How about a menu? Yeah, what about a menu? Say if we had a, let's see, a char choice, and we had cn choice. I'm gonna quickly build this, so don't judge. Let's see. I'm not even going to go into building all the cout statements for this here. Let's cn choice. I'm going to build a menu system. That's what I'm after. I'm going to build it with a switch. Now, switches can hold the char or the int. Okay? And I'm going to say case, and I'm actually going to make these like ints, but they're going to be the character representations of that. Okay, so case 1. Then what do we got to do? We got to put the semicolon, or rather the colon, after the case in order to have that be that. And let's make a cout statement. This no, let's say do something great. We'll say that this is going to be our menu. Okay. And just because I'm trying to quickly get these out here, I'm going to go ahead and build all 3 of these here, and do that lazily by copy and pasting. Do things and something. Okay, so we have 3 different choices here. We want to make sure that because this is a switch, that we have a break for each case after they're hit. Okay, and let's say if we want to do this again. Okay, so we're going to do this. We do this, and if none of these match, then we got to do it again. Let's do this. So we can build a do while. So we're going to have the user pick, and let's make sure I accidentally put my cn statement. Silly me. Let me make sure all of this is indented correctly. Okay, so let's have our do while. So we have do, and here's the end of our switch. So I'm going to put my while. Now the while, the syntax for the do while is it has the keyword do up at the top. Okay, it has the do at the top of the code, and then at the bottom, at the end of the while, is a while statement, and a semicolon is used. So here is the way that the syntax is. Okay, so it's do, and then while, condition, then semicolon. So let's go ahead and add that. Okay, so here's the end of this, and how do I know that this is it? Well, because I've indented my code and it's all nice and pretty. And if I click on this here, if I click on the brace, I can see the matching brace. See the matching brace? Perfect. Let's put in our while condition, and we'll say while choice is not equal to 1. How about this? And choice is not equal to 2, and choice is not equal to 3. Semicolon. Okay. Just making this a little bit smaller so you can see what's going on. Let's go ahead and run this here, and then let's observe what we've done. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in 5 rather. Okay, so I put in 5, and it seems like nothing happens, but I see a blinking cursor, which means that there's input. Now, just to track this here, I'm going to say cout welcome input 1, 2, or 3. Now with this statement, I'm going to be able to see what it is that what's going on. If I put in 5, it goes back and it runs the loop again. 7, 1. Oh look, do something great. I picked 1. Do something great is now evaluated. Okay, do something great is evaluated. Break, which means I break out of the switch, which means I go right here. And then the while is evaluated now. Choice, I picked 1, right? Which is the character 1. It's not the actual numeric value 1. It's not a value. It's a character representation of 1. But check out my logic down here. I said, as long as choice is not equal to 1, or it's not equal to 2, or it's not equal to 3. So if it's any one of those numbers, don't loop. But anything else, anything, which I said numbers, but I meant characters, any of those characters, go ahead and loop. But if it is one of those characters, stop the loop, we're done. This is a really clever way to run a menu system with the do while loop that you'll come across with some problems that are in the book, and who knows, maybe some assignments as well. So this is one way to have a menu system to where you have to have input first, right? You have to have input first in order to evaluate it, right? So you have to run this first no matter what, and then you can loop it again, okay? The other way, and this is the post-test loop, the other way to do this, okay, is if, and I'm going to modify this here, I'm going to take away my do while loop, okay, so now it's just a switch, okay, it's just a switch, there it is, all right, I'm going to put while, and then I'm going to have, got 2 whiles now, I'm going to have my while loop. Oops. There we go. Okay, so I have a while loop now. The problem is that I do not have a way to track this here. Okay, so the input has to be grabbed first now. Okay, so while this input is not grabbed, but then you have to look at this here. If this input is not allowed to continue here, then we don't actually hit the switch. So it doesn't even make sense that this is in here anymore. So we pull this out, and now we can just evaluate. We can just evaluate choice and change choice like we were last time. Okay, so just because you have a menu structure doesn't mean you always have to use it, the do while, because I need to run this first and then I can evaluate it. Doesn't always mean that. In fact, many different textbooks or even people would tell you to try to stay away from the do while as much as possible, and there are some good reasons to do that. You may want to make sure that only certain things run under certain conditions that are evaluated first, instead of just go and then we'll check it out later. So I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that you would potentially expose yourself to some unwanted functionality if you just kind of just say, yeah, just run it and then we'll figure it out. So this would be a better way to structure something like that, and I would much rather see this happen, even though there's 2 of the exact same statements duplicated. That's perfectly fine. Okay, that's perfectly fine. I'm not, and I'm not saying don't use the do while ever. I'm not saying that at all. And in fact, you will have an assignment where you'll have to use that in order to make it work properly. Just saying that, you have choices now. See what works better, and know the consequences of those. So if you find an exploit with one, use the other. So that's what I'm saying here. So hopefully this has helped out a little bit. I would highly suggest that you read the chapter. It's chapter 5 in the textbook. Read that chapter. Check out Blackboard. There's a bunch of lecture notes that are there as well. Use these here. Try to change over some of the previous assignments to using loops, and try out the assignments too. So try them out. Kind of digest this material, come up with questions, pose the questions, let's hammer them out on Blackboard. So hopefully you guys have learned something here, and I'd love to answer a few of your problems here, as we're just getting started on this. So take a whack at it and see what you got. Thanks, guys.